Good evening, guests, and welcome to my guests. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to The Price of Fame. My name is Lunga Tshuka, and I'll be your host. So, The Price of Fame is a podcast that focuses on the real stories about the journey to success, from the moment of realization of one's gift or purpose. And in these conversations, we aim to share the light on the hardships, the sacrifices, and the mindsets our guests have to overcome to achieve their current position in their career. And these are their stories. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get fabulous. Bam! Miss Woo! Are you ready? Bam! Miss Black Pride. Bam! Miss Cape Town Pride. Bam! Bam! Miss Cape Peninsula. Bam! Miss Loerie. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest is a formidable performer in the drag scene. She's performed both nationally and internationally for several years. And she's also shared the stage with some of the most gifted and the most precious, finest gems that South Africa has to offer. She's also been making some world moves when she came seventh in the world on the list of the LGBTQ, actually the Black LGBTQ Power 100. Ladies and gentlemen, she's fabulous from her makeup to her outfits, which she actually designs by herself in her own design label called House of Vion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the screen the talented, the formidable, the thriller in Manila, Manila Von Teez.
Ooh, what an intro, I tell you. Ooh.
How are you doing, Manila?
How's things, babe?
I'm
good.
very well. How are you?
I'm a little bit under the weather, but that happens when you are performing till late in the evening with just a panty and a bra on. So, what do you expect? You're bound to catch a cold.
Yeah, let's actually. Okay, we're gonna get into that. Let's actually talk about. It's been kind of crazy, We still get. I mean, with this fifth waves and third waves, and and the vax and anti-vax and all of these things and information going around, and at the same time, opportunities are coming and rising, and sometimes it's always risky. So it's been a roller coaster of a year. How has 2021 been for you, though?
It's been insane because last year it was a whirlwind kind of a thing. We didn't know what was going on. Like this year, we kind of have had an understanding of what goes on with regard to that third wave, fourth wave, whatever goes with that. So it was definitely quite an adaptation for most of us. But I mean, it's been great. I've been literally like working nonstop, not as Manila as much, but also behind the scenes, which is great because that is also where my creative juices.
Absolutely. Just 1 second.
Did you lose
Yes, you're
me?
there. I think I got you. You finished off. You did.
Awesome.
You
Yeah,
did.
so you
You're
hear
still
me?
there. Yeah, you're still there.
Can you hear me?
It's
Yeah.
just slightly
No,
blurred.
it's been amazing. No, I've been working a lot, which is great.
Sorry, I was just
It's
saying that it's
blurry.
slightly blurred. You're still there though, and I can hear you.
Okay. But I don't want me to be blurry though. I don't need to see all of this.
Yes. Back to focusing. It's out of focus again. So like it comes and it goes, kind of thing.
I think everyone else needs to get off the Wi-Fi, yeah. I think that's what needs to happen. Yeah, but it's been a great year. It's been insane as well because a lot of opportunities have been coming up, and yeah, I've just been truly grateful and truly blessed to be able to do the things that I love doing.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right. So with the whole drag thing, and like I said it like in the pre-conversation, like we want to do this like a whole educational mode.
Something.
Please, can you describe a typical drag
I need
event?
to get off.
What are the key players and what does it take to like be like a contestant? What do you need to do? You as a contestant, what do you have to go through in preparation to become a successful contestant? Because I'm sure you've won a few of these few of these shows and these pageants. So can you tell me what does it take to like prepare in terms of when you start your preparing from the hair to the makeup to everything, and what does the typical competition look like? Could you please describe that for us?
Well, you have a whole lot of competitions. You have like the big ones, which is Miss Gay Western Cape, Miss Drag South Africa. And then you kind of have the other ones that's kind of just lower than that, which is Peninsula, Loerie. And there's pageants everywhere. There's pageants everywhere. And it takes a lot of time and effort because you have rehearsals, you have to find someone to make yourself a gown. Unfortunately for me, I make all my own costumes, so I don't have to run around finding things. So if I find inspiration for a gown, I'll make it where someone has to go to someone and find out if they are possible, be able to create what you have in mind from paper to an actual reality, you know? So it's often difficult because there's a lot that goes into it, like swimwear. You're either tucking or you're not tucking, or you're padding or you're not padding, because there's a whole lot of processes that goes into just you getting into drag. There's a whole lot of other things as well, and they judge you accordingly, you know. So they will look at from the head to your toe. Is your hairline fine? Is your hair put together? Is your costume put together? Is there seams that's ripped? Because that normally happens sometimes where you put on a dress and you know stuff happens. So you must just be quick on your feet and just have someone there to sew things up, because it's chaos backstage. It's so chaotic, but that's where the magic happens. I love being backstage with a whole lot of queens, because the banter, the shade, the laughter is just insane. And I always say that if I must have a reality show, I would want a backstage reality show, because the amount of shade that gets thrown backstage, hey, I tell you, it's insane.
Can you imagine? And the thing, like, would you say that drag and like the whole culture and actually the events, would you say that it's more of like an expression or a celebration of your identity, or could like straight males also enter drag, or can females also be part of drag competitions?
Well, drag has literally now become this massive platform where people can express themselves. So if I can't tell you not to express yourself through an art form that I now want to believe is just solely for my culture or my community or part of the LGBTI community, because it's such a broad term now. Like I can't tell you, for example, Lunga, you can't do drag. No, that is wrong, because how can I stop you from expressing your creativity if that is your outlet to express your creativity, you know? So there's a lot of cis women now doing drag. There's a lot of cis males who do drag. So it's also, it's sometimes difficult to understand, but I mean, allow people to just be creative, allow people to just be themselves, allow people to just have fun with life, because oftentimes is an escape for me. So I would want that escape for others as well. So why must I hold it just to myself? The happiness that I get from drag, you know?
So you say the focus is more so of an expression of yourself, not so more so of the community or a specific gender or whatever. So if you feel like you want to express yourself on that kind of platform, you can join, you know?
But pageants are a different story, I think, because they have stipulations on kind of what they are looking for in contestants. So before you obviously apply to enter, in a sense. So you enter kind of a thing, you send an entry form, and then they can kind of find out the contestants and the caliber of girls, as well as if you will represent their brand the way that they want their brand to be represented, you know? So there's a whole lot of things that goes into it. That's why I'm perfectly fine with just performing at the pageants and not competing for a title, because the girls come for you with knives, cut up your dresses. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
They'll use the nails as a knife.
It used to happen. There was people that had dresses cut up with scissors. Yeah, wigs gone
Oh,
missing.
spiteful thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
it happens, but not anymore because we have a general big love for it's like a big sisterhood that we have here. So there's not that cattiness anymore. We do give each other like, the subtle shade and the side eye, but we have a genuine love for each other, and we always help out where we can. If it's a nail glue here, or if it's a mastics there, or putting a
that's
wig on someone's head. So it's always kind of that love that we always have. And I mean, we have it tough oftentimes. So why not want everyone to just look their
yeah,
best if you see
yeah.
something is just a little off?
Mm. Now that's such a beautiful thing because I mean the competition is out there. You don't have to like be spiteful with each other in the room, because you're still gonna go out there and whatever you put on is still gonna be what has to compete with everyone else's. So there's no
And
need to be
also,
spiteful or that kind of thing to the next person. Rather be helpful and wish each other well because at the end of the day, one win, we all win because we're making a noise basically. It's
very
not
that.
just me, just you. So that's a beautiful thing that you are actually transitioned from the cutting up the dresses to
No, no, no. I
more.
was never part of cutting up no dresses. I was never,
You,
I was
you,
never
not
involved. I have it on record right here, right now. I was never a part of no cutting up of dresses. I'm sorry.
no, you didn't have to. You didn't have to because clearly you killed it so many times on the stage. So you clearly it shows that you're a hard worker and you focus on everything. And like you said, from the hair to the outfits, you design it yourself. And
Mhm.
look, um, I've seen like maybe two or few episodes of RuPaul's show, right? And there
Uh-huh.
I've seen a part of the contest is a huge part of it is the performance, the lip
Yeah.
syncing. Can you tell me about that lip syncing? And like I've seen drag performances here as well, like in Cape Town, and they also do the lip syncing. What is it about your lip sync performance? And you must be on point, eh?
No, the
Energy
thing
and
is, yeah, but the thing is you literally invoke a essence of the emotion that goes on with the song, right? So that's first. I first think of, okay, fine, here's a song, the emotion I love. So now I now need to learn lyrics, and now I
yeah,
need to learn the mannerisms that comes with those lyrics, like the ad libs at the end. You need to know all the runs that the person does. Now you need to put the look together. But I enjoy it because I mean the love and appreciation that you find on stage, that you get from the audience is just so fulfilling, and just it really just feeds my soul and my energy with like just wanting to keep going and keep going and keep pushing. Because at the end of the day, we there to let you escape. We're taking you on a journey when you come to our shows. So we have to also be filled before we can fill other
yeah.
people. So I really enjoy it. It's sometimes stressful because you can't get the second verse of the song down because you always know first verse, chorus, and then when second, where's the words? I can't find the words.
Yeah, oh my word. Then you just get a blank.
Experience being on stage, and it's a privilege being on stage. And
Sorry, I didn't get that last word that you said. You said it was a privilege being on stage, and just before that?
yeah, it's a privilege being on stage as well as it's a privilege to be able to entertain people, and to
Yeah.
yeah, be in their presence and them allowing you to be who you are.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but like it's almost like I feel like the outfits to the makeup to everything has to be larger than life. It can't just be like mediocre or just like normal. Like it has to be. It has
No, no. Well,
oh,
do
no.
you think that no, mediocre and mean not in the same sentence, baby girl, not in the same sentence. The thing is this, mediocre you can find at the mall. We're not giving you more. We're not giving you more. We are giving you ET extraterrestrial, outer space, Glamazonian airways vibes. No, it's always
What?
it's it's an extension of a woman. I feel like it's an
Okay.
exaggerated version of a woman. It's a caricature of a woman, not in a bad way, but in a good way because you don't see a woman look like this. And also, I have to cover up a lot of man in order for me to look like a woman. So,
Yeah.
so there's that too. But it's a big process. It's a big process, but it's fun. I enjoy the transformation.
It's so cool. Speaking of transformation, actually, please share with us your personal transformation from the little shy person that you were and then becoming Manila and becoming such a front runner. And you hold so many, like, there's so many people on your back right now. You actually, like I said, you're not winning for yourself, you're winning for a whole community.
Yeah.
You've made noise on the global stage, you've made noise internationally and nationally. And like you, I mean, you're also busy, you're still busy and you're running and you're doing,
Yeah,
you're
still
also
making a buzz. Still,
yeah,
still, still. We have to continue. We have to continue always.
absolutely. You won't even say that you're halfway. You like, I'm still
No, we still have
oh,
a long way to go.
I'm still introducing myself here. You guys are
Yeah.
clapping hands. I'm just saying this is who I am. So like, yeah. So like with all of that, could you please describe what was your transformation? I mean, because you weren't always this explosive version of yourself, right? So can you take us through the process where it all started and how you transform yourself and all the difficulties that you kind of had to like that you had to go through to become who you are? Because I'm sure it wasn't an easy journey just by saying this is who I am and I'm going to stand proud. I'm sure there was a lot of challenges. So could you share some of that with us and where it all began?
Well, I think you stated like I was a very shy person when I started doing drag, which is weird because you always have to be in an overly loud presence walking into a room. But I think where the shift came for me, and also when I was starting out, I got a lot of ridicule because of the type of drag that I did, because I then started to highlight and contour. Some of my friends started to highlight and contour, so we were always like ridiculed because of. Also, it was back then, so we didn't have all the products that we have now. We don't know all the skills that we know now. Back then, we
Yeah.
were just like seeing a picture and then we going according to a picture. And oftentimes it didn't look great, but we felt like this is kind of the process that you have to go through in order for you to get to that diamond from the rough.
Yes.
So I got a lot of ridicule. I was like ridiculed for wearing so much beads on my gowns. I was ridiculed for my padding. I was ridiculed because I was impersonating Nicki Minaj, Lady Gaga. I did all the weird things when at the time, a lot of the girls were like doing old school, like drag, like realness, kind of like almost like you are really singing kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Where I am doing music video, I wasn't performing with a mic. Everyone was performing with a mic. I was giving you a visual concept.
Yeah.
I wasn't giving you a live performance. So I was ridiculed a lot. But I just kept going because at the end of the day, I was doing me
Yeah.
and I really didn't care what the other people said, because at the end of the day, I didn't even think that I was horrible. You know, I was living in my own fantasy. I was living my own fantasy. But the thing where I was never like a talkative person, so I had to break that in order for me to become more of a bigger personality. And for me, it was a growth thing. It was a really a growth thing, because also Manila allowed me into spaces where where I needed to speak, where I needed my voice to be heard. So Vion couldn't hold Manila back from getting the message to the people. So I had to literally shake that and just continue, and just grow. And at the place where I'm now, where I can actually have a conversation, and that is actually a proper conversation, and not just me trying to be funny or trying to create a character.
Yeah. And with Manila, the whole character of Manila, how was Manila born? How did you think of the name and decide, okay, this is how I'm gonna present myself. This is the style of Manila, and this is Manila's goals actually, because Manila's goals are quite different to Vion's goals. Am I
Yeah,
sure?
yeah,
Correct. So
yeah.
can you
But
discuss?
but it's kind of like webbed in a way,
Absolutely.
because the one kind of flows into the other one, which is great.
Yes.
Because I think that's why I kind of love what I'm doing, because the one kind of interlinks with the other one, which
That's
is
it.
amazing. Um, what was the question?
I was asking. How did like when did it come to you? Did it come to you in a dream? How did you
Oh
how
no,
did you
no.
become create Manila, the character Manila, and the goals that you set for Manila? Obviously, Manila has kind of, like you said, it's a different lifestyle and everything
Yeah.
like that, and goals and everything. So how did you create all of that? And how did it come to you?
Well, I think I was Beyonce Nanucci. Horrible
Okay.
name. That was my name. Horrible name. Didn't stick at all. I went out probably once or twice with that name. Nobody really took note of me. And then obviously Drag Race was a big influence in my drag at the time. So I was like, so who do I identify with a lot on Drag Race? So I identified a lot with Manila Luzon, who was a conceptual queen. So she had always, her look was head to toe. It looked like a complete like picture. It was from a period. It was just a whole entire concept that she had. And I was like, oh no, I identify with that because I do that as well to an extent. And then I was like, but also I'm a little bit sexy. So how do I now combine the sexy? So I was like, sex symbol to everyone, which is Tita Von Teez. And I was like, fitting Manila Von Teez. And then I instantly had a Facebook account and instantly everyone was calling me Manila. And then it was like, it was like instantly it stuck. And I still have the name to this day. So, I mean, it worked.
Yeah, working, working. Pretty cool name actually, Manila Von Teez. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, yeah. You get teased from Manila Von Teez. Okay.
She's really in Manila. And
Meaning?
Manila, let's talk about some of those challenges, like maybe community, like in the community, or like I'm sure there's been a lot of challenges in terms of acceptance, maybe in the household or also in terms of in the community. And I'm sure like you probably face some challenges at school as well, just trying to be yourself. So can you speak about some of those challenges? Could you educate us on some of those challenges and also like make us aware in some way? Because I'm sure a lot of us were ignorant back in the day, and some of us are so ignorant now, where we will say or do things that are so actually so offensive, or even just even just like getting the terms wrong, because I heard earlier you mentioned the cis male and the cis female, and because I
Mhm.
watched the other interview, I kind of know what
Yeah.
it means. But if you could
Yeah.
explain that, yes, what does that mean? Can you just describe some of your
It's a
challenges?
loaded
Like,
question, a loaded question.
sorry,
Now it's a lot to answer at once. Okay, let's start with the cis thing. Let's start with the
yes,
so cis is like biologically what you are born with. So cis male, I'm cis male, I was born male. You cis male. So but you can change that if you want, if you obviously don't identify with the body that you were born with. So that you can then instantly change, and then you can then identify as female or you identify as male. Um, what was the other questions?
so those are challenges. So some of the challenges
Yeah.
in terms of acceptance, maybe in the house or the what's name in the community or school. What were those challenges like? And then after the challenges, sorry, I know it's a lot. After the, can you just inform us or enlighten us on things that we should be more considerate about or more aware of?
What's going on with my camera?
I don't know. I think that it went off.
No,
Can
I
you?
didn't start. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, I didn't press anything. Okay. Um, growing up at school,
Let's start with.
growing up at school, I was kind of protected because I was with I in my road. We stayed right next to school. In my road, I had a bunch of friends, and they were kind of like the big dogs on school.
Yeah. Looks like we're having just a little bit of technical difficulty. Can you still hear me though, Manila?
Sorry, hold on quickly. You need
Okay. Well,
you need to get this Wi-Fi. Okay. Sorry. Um, yeah. So when I went to school, I was with the cool kids, for example. So I was always protected in a sense. So and also I was very closeted at school. So I never really expressed myself as much as I probably wanted to. This probably was when I was in matric that I expressed myself a little bit more. Um, but also to an extent because I was very introverted. I was always to myself, even within a clique of friends, they would always just know that I'm the quiet one.
Yeah.
I was the one that was in my books. I was the one that they could get their notes from. So I was kind of like the the one that gets the notes for them, because they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
never in
yeah,
class. They were never in class. I was. But so I'd never had, and you get the slurs, the morphe, you get all those things. But I never identified with those words, so I never really got hurt by it. But now I don't even want to hear the word because I don't associate myself with the word. So when someone says the word, for me, it comes from a derogatory term. So
yeah,
it's offensive to me because of you mean hurt by using that word. You could have used a
yeah.
plethora of other words, but you chose to use that word. So for me, it's like, um, you're homophobic. But
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, coming out was probably the big thing for me because when I came out, I was 21. Um, and then my obviously I was staying with my mom at the time, and then she was like, "No, if this is the lifestyle that you want to choose, then you can't stay here." And obviously, with for me, it was like, okay, fine. I'm trying to become who I'm destined to be. So you want to hold me back by telling me that I must portray a certain kind of way in order for me to be under your roof, which is actually not cool. So I just said no, I'm going, I'm leaving, and then I left and I went to go stay with my partner's house, who is my manager now, Barry. I went to go stay at his place, and then I was there ever since. I haven't during that time I was like estranged from my family for like 2 or 3 years. Didn't speak to them at all until they saw me in drag, and that's kind of where we kind of came together as a family again, which is weird, very weird, but it's a blessing in disguise for me because I mean they're my biggest supporters now, and I can't fathom not having them a
Yeah,
part of my journey and a part of my life.
yeah. Do you think that they were probably maybe the decision was based on fear of how would other people accept you, and more so than how they feel about you, but also how would other people accept you in the world and that kind of thing, and how would other people look at them? But once they saw, because I'm only asking this because once they saw that you actually like you've made all of these achievements, that came back onto place and be like, we're actually your biggest supporter. Because now
No,
it
this
was
is
like a
way before achievements. This is way
yeah,
before achievements. This is way, 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 way before. They thought that I was transitioning. They thought that I was becoming a woman. So I had to
uh,
obviously explain to them as well. Like this is what I do. This is not who I am, kind of a thing. Yes, it's part of my lifestyle, but it's not my gender. It has nothing to do with my gender or my sexuality. It's two completely different things. And and it was yeah it was weird, it was very weird, but I really appreciate it. And yeah, they're my biggest supporters now. I love it.
that's so cool. And like with with the whole drag scene, like, do you feel like this? What? Oh yeah, the other question was that what do you feel that people should be more aware of when it comes to your community or probably the drag scene, just so that we can. Even if it even like maybe it's offensive to you guys, or even if not, just like a moment of education. What do you think
Yeah.
that you'd like to know about your scene or or the community?
Well, I would say if you don't understand something, just take a minute and listen to the person to be able to understand the person. I would always say lead with asking the person their pronouns, because you can't just say, hey, you, hey, he, or when the person is don't identify as he may be presenting he, but that's not who they are. So if you just lead with, listen, can I address you, but I would love to know your pronouns, what are they?
Yeah,
So then it opens you up to wanting to learn something from the person, and that allows the person to open up with you and teach you about them. Because I've said it before, I can only teach you my experiences. I can't teach you other people's experiences, because that's not the proper narrative that I want to project onto others. So that's the only thing I would say. Let's listen to each other. Let's start by asking each other our pronouns, so that we can have an open door for learning and teaching and from each other,
Yeah. And with the drag industry, with the competitions and just how things are going, and with you also being also a trailblazer and someone who's passionate and creates her own thing, sorry. What would you say is
We
missing?
just spoke about pronouns and there you
So,
go.
I'm so sorry about that mistake. But what would you caught it there. So what would you say like is missing from the industry? Like, are you happy with the way it is now, or do you feel like it should add a little bit of more this or a little bit about that, or it's not really?
I don't see it as we need to need a little bit of more of this or that, but I think what we do need is we need more fire. I think is what we lacking. I think we tend to just think that stuff needs to just happen organically when you need to create it for yourself, oftentimes we sit and we wait and for things to just fall on our lap when you need to go out there and create things for those things to fall on your lap, because if you are not seen, if you're not doing anything, if you're not creating waves, if you're not a part of things, then no one will know that you are actually doing stuff, so I think the fire, we need more passion. I love our girls. We have some real amazing talent, especially in Cape Town, because I can say that Cape Town is like the drag capital of South Africa, and we have some amazing girls. So yeah, just step it up. Let's work, because we don't want to go through another level 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever level is coming. I don't want to go through those levels. So let's work and let's push, and there is so much that we can do if we all just work hard.
Yeah. And with also like with because you've been like you have some titles like they have been in the world, seventh in the world, and that is there some kind of link with the competitions that you have here that kind of like gives you opportunities to compete overseas as well? So with b-boying, there's some competitions that you compete here, and if you win here
Well, no,
in SA, then you
I haven't done.
and then you
No,
win the
no, there
opportunity
isn't
to
pageants like that. I've been out of the country once. Sorry, you can hear me?
yeah.
I've only been out of the country like once. I went to India. I went to go perform in India because they booked me there. No, there isn't a lot of pageants here where it's like in the US they have a Miss Continental pageant where it's like Miss Continental Texas, and then Texas go represent at the big continental kind of vibe. That's not what we have here. We have just pageants here that you kind of run here. Miss Drag SA is kind of where they take a few queens from different provinces and then they kind of have like one big event. But yeah, there's no like real no, there's no real like pageants like that. No. Which it should be great. It would be really amazing to but there's the transgender pageant does that. Like we had a Miss Transgender South Africa, and then now our winner is going to the international pageant, which is probably going to be held in Rio or something. So that I know of, but not our pageants. No.
Yeah. And do you feel that that is probably maybe could be one thing that's missing from the pageants that you enter in the drag?
No, it's not missing, but it's gonna get there. I feel like because we can't push things when it needs to organically flow to a point. Like even our drag has evolved so much from where I started to now, so that has been amazing to watch. But we do bring the RuPaul Queens down and have shows here as well. So that is kind of also where the connection is between us and them. Like we always perform with the artist that comes here. Like Latrice was here, Sangela was here. Trinity Ritak is coming now the end of October, and I'm performing at that one as well. So it's like that's where the relationships that we make internationally in essence, with the RuPaul's Drag Race Queens, which is fun to actually just be in their presence, and then just feeding off of that aura that they have, which is amazing to just be in the presence of. So, I mean, I'm privileged to be able to be around them. So that's
Yeah.
totally amazing.
And I know you hold a lot of titles for being the first drag performer to do this, and the first drag performer to be on this, or the first drag performer to be on all those things. With those achievements, can you explain to us, has it been kind of like a bittersweet where like the achievement is amazing, but the journey to getting there was kind of difficult, or was it like smooth sailing because you're the first?
No, I don't think it was smooth sailing. For me, it was just going with with the flow of how I feel things organically. Because if I feel pressurized to do something, then I don't do it. Because then I know it's not for me. Don't force me into something that I don't want to do, or I want to wrap my mind around it first before actually doing it. If that makes sense. So even with the Aces Got Talent thing, I was going to enter the year before, but then a whole lot of things didn't add up for me to be able to go, and then I didn't enter. But then I entered the next year, and it was like it was meant to be, and it was during the time when there was the massive hate crime at Pulse in Orlando. That also happened around the same time, so it was like so important for me to be a
Yeah.
part of the show, just to also showcase, like, you know what, we are being hurt, we are being killed, we are um um we are minority. So being able to represent my community on that platform was just so amazing, and I only realized afterwards how big of a deal it was, because I was so in the moment of just doing my job and trying to do my job well.
Yeah.
But I've always believed in letting things flow organically and not forcing something.
Mhm. And any mentors? Did you have any mentors along the way that kind of helped you through the drag or whatever? Or just like any, even maybe personal mentors in the family or anyone who actually identifies as someone who kind of like showed you the ropes or held your hand through any kind of journey? Do you have any of those? Or have you perhaps mentored anyone on their journey in the beginnings or doing so
Well,
now,
I
maybe?
think it takes a village. I think it takes a village to in essence, because I've always just drawn a lot of inspiration from a lot of people around me. But Barry has been a huge like mentor in essence for me, because he will, after every performance, and give me kind of like a critique on, like, this was great, but let's work on this. That was great, but let's work now on this, and like you going back into this way of putting your hand in front of your mouth while performing, because it's a habit. Um,
Yeah.
when the people need to see your lips move. And it's all those kind of small things that kind of help you just own who you are and own your craft. And yeah, you go through life and you go through experiences, and those experiences often also help you or enlighten you in all aspects of your life. So I've been truly grateful to be able to go through things and come out at a better end and not go down a different path.
Mhm. Has there been anything that kind of like made you as either acted as a setback in your career or in your life? Or did you ever have those moments where you feel like, you know what, this is too much, this is too much pressure and it's too much of this, too much that. I just want to hang up the boots and just give it a rest or even just walk away completely, you know? Did you ever have one of those moments or kind of setbacks
Oh,
or
I
like that?
think it was the beginning of the pandemic. I think it was the
Yeah.
beginning of the pandemic, because I did not know how we were gonna navigate any of this. Like, we didn't know how we are gonna do drag. We didn't know how, because we were working so much. We're working, 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 working. We just came from Pride, our big massive Pride, which was 2019 was our last Pride. Yeah. And then bam, everything stopped. And having to find out now, how do we work this now? Do we do online shows? And then I was like, but this is kind of pointless. And that was kind of the stumbling block for me, because I couldn't see past what I saw, rather than pushing through and seeing the bigger picture or seeing the vision of, you know what, you can actually learn from this. So learn to actually now do the online things. Learn now to create better content for your online things. Now you can also find new avenues in making your drag better. So now it's like now a different avenue of exploring and experiences, and that's all I love doing, is like learning new things, learning experiences. And yeah, it's been great so far. Great so
Yeah,
far. And it can only get better. It can only get better because we've seen the worst. We've seen the worst.
absolutely. All right, Manila, it's been a lovely, lovely
How is
time.
that it? I didn't
No,
even
no, no.
laugh once. It's
What
not
I'm
even
going
a show if I haven't laughed once.
yeah, I'm laughing now. You laughed at me more so.
Well, yeah, because you must change at me. No, you didn't.
Okay, so
Cool.
my final question for you that I always ask all my guests is that if I were to put you into a time machine, right, and take you back all the way to the very, very young Vion before you came Manila, when you just had dreams about all of this, and and you're like, maybe this is something I want to do, and you're just not sure, and you're trying out, and it's the person that you are today. It's Manila
Mhm.
Von Teez. Having walked the journey, having achieved everything and learned the lessons and have done better and you're still learning and creating. What bit of advice? I'm only giving you 5 minutes with the younger version of you. So you have to
Uh-huh.
give him a little bit of advice. So, what bit of advice would you give Vion? And what would that be?
Speak up for yourself. Um, don't allow people to put words in your mouth. Don't let them have the power over your narrative. Take power of your narrative. You are living in your purpose, so don't try and seek for your purpose. Um, you are a creative being. Accept that. Don't push against it. And yeah, love yourself, because you're gonna find out later in life that it would have been better if you loved yourself earlier. So you wouldn't have gone through a lot of things if you loved yourself from the beginning. So I would say love yourself, take care of yourself, um, and yeah, enjoy life.
Yeah. Wow, that's such a beautiful
Yeah.
message. I like the love yourself part because I mean, when people ask me, how do you do what you do, or how do I get better at what I'm doing, and that kind of thing, I always tell them the key to the best version of your performance or your work or whatever you do in life is loving yourself and trusting yourself.
Yeah.
Because we always get messages from our guardian angels and our higher self saying, do this or do that, or do this idea or
Mhm.
work on that.
Yeah.
But they were like always like we either listen to people because we shared with them before we tried, when we look for external validation,
Yeah.
or we also think like, no, what are they going to think, or what are they going to
No,
think?
no,
So
it's
you
and they hype you up. They hype you up, and they're like, "Okay, no, that's great, that's great, that's great." But in the back of their mind, they're like, "Oh, you know." But in essence, sometimes you just don't have to find that validation from outside. I've learned now that um, I'm in my own lane. Um, yes, I'm opening doors for a whole lot of people, and I'm busting through the doors for a lot of people to come through. But know that you are running with yourself, running at your own pace, the way that you want to run. Because if you try to compete with running a pace against someone else, then you are gonna get exhausted. Run at your own pace at the time that you want to get to that place. Don't rush anything. Relish in where you are and where you're going.
beautiful. Love yourself, stick to it, hustle, and just create your own reality.
Yini,
Yes,
love
I
that.
love that. It's been lovely. Like I said, thank you so much for joining. You've been a lovely guest, and we've
Thank
learned so
you.
much can take away so much from tonight's conversation. Is there anything else that you feel like I may have left out that you would love to share with us or whatever? Any last words
Yeah,
before
you
I
can
let you go?
follow me at Manila Von Teez on Instagram, Manila Von Teez on Facebook, House of Vion on Instagram, House of Vion on Facebook. Yeah, follow me, send me a message, tell me how much you love me, and I'll tell you how much I love you.
Absolutely. Awesome. And is there any amazing events that are coming up that we can look out for, that we can possibly be part of, or donations or any kind of thing like that?
Yeah, no, awesome. I'm performing at Beefcakes all the time, every weekend almost. I perform at 021. There's a show happening on the 10th of October at the Radisson Red. We have drag brunches there. That one is actually sold out, so you keep your eye out for the next one, which is probably gonna be the 7th of November. Yeah, so we have a whole lot of things coming up because things are opening now. So please just check out my Instagram page. I will always post all my events and all my things where I will be. So yeah, if you want to check me out, come to my page.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Manila. Like I said, I had so much fun. It was a very educational moment, and I really, really appreciate having you on The Price of Fame. But for now, I'm signing out, and I'm going to say thank you and have a lovely evening further.
It was nice meeting you too, Lunga.
Bye-bye. Likewise.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it from me, Lunga Tshuka, and Manila Von Teez. That was our guest tonight. We're signing out. You got all of our social handles. My social handles is Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. That is on Facebook. That's Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. And on Instagram, you can find me at Lunga Tshuka. And we have us for exclusive interviews and snippets of The Price of Fame. You can go to my separate Instagram page. That is The Price of Fame ZA. Ladies and gentlemen, like I always say, let's make the entertainment industry within South Africa the most supported by local, because local talent is liquor talent. That's it for me. My name is Lunga Tshuka. I've been your host, and this is The Price of Fame.